Hi guys, how are you today? Welcome back to my channel, Adventures in America. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jocelyn, and for today's topic, we are going to discuss the latest travel restrictions in the Philippines. There are also new rules that are being imposed to travelers. But before we get started, please like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I always welcome new subscribers. Please take note that the Philippines is not yet open for international tourism. It doesn't matter if you are fully vaccinated. It doesn't matter if you are coming from a green lane country. If you are a foreign tourist without a family member, such as a spouse, or a Filipino child based in the Philippines, you cannot enter the country. Now, the Philippine government completely changed its rules regarding quarantine and testing protocols starting October 15th. This was a big change from October 8th with the no quarantine requirement. Now, there are new green lane countries issued starting October 15 until the end of October. If you are an eligible passenger and you are coming from the green lane country, you will be entitled to a no quarantine requirement upon arrival. But there are steps to be taken before you can avail of this no quarantine requirement. So first, you must be in a green lane country in the last 14 days. And second, and this is the most important, is that your vaccination must be verified. Now, other requirements are you must be fully vaccinated to avail of this no quarantine requirement. So let's go on for these protocols for eligible foreign nationals. So there are classifications for fully vaccinated. One is for eligible foreign nationals and the other are for Filipinos. First, for eligible foreign nationals, the requirements are different. The question is, if you are not a Filipino, you will be considered a foreign national, including former Filipinos. So these are the requirements for foreign nationals. You must have a negative test 72 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. Now, for the next protocol for Filipinos, you actually have two choices. So please remember, if you're a foreign national, including former Filipinos, negative test 72 hours before arrival. Now, for Filipinos, there are actually two options. So the first option is that you can have a quarantine until the release of a negative test, or you must have a negative RT-PCR test taken within 72 hours prior to departure from the country of origin. So either of the two options, you will have no quarantine requirements upon arrival. Now, there are requirements for unvaccinated, partially vaccinated. Vaccination cannot be verified or no testing before arrival. Please remember, this is only for green lane country and you must be in these green lane countries in the last 14 days. Now, here are the new protocols if you are coming from a green lane country and you are unvaccinated or you forgot to be tested before arrival. You will have a 5 days of hotel quarantine and your pre-booked hotel must be for 6 days. Now, if you have minor children, the quarantine requirements are also 5 days and the pre-booked hotel is 6 days. So unvaccinated or partially vaccinated minor children shall also observe the quarantine protocols of their parents. Now let's move on to the yellow list countries. The yellow list countries are those countries not included in the green list, including USA, Canada, Australia, or all countries not in the green list. There are two classifications for passengers. One is for those vaccinated and there's a different protocol for vaccinated passengers. Now here are the requirements. 5 days hotel quarantine with pre-booked hotel of 6 days for vaccinated, and the testing will be done on the 5th day of your arrival. Plus, you will also have a home quarantine of 5 days after being released from the hotel quarantine. Now, for those unvaccinated, partially vaccinated, or the vaccination cannot be verified, especially for U.S. citizens or U.S. passengers with no yellow card, there will be a 7 days of hotel quarantine with pre-booked hotel of 8 days. Now, the testing will be done on the 7th day, and let's see if there are requirements for home quarantine. Yes, there will be a home quarantine after 7 days in a hotel. And the home quarantine, it was actually longer, which is 7 days. Now, let's move on to the new red country. Red country means you cannot go to the Philippines if you have been in this country in the last 14 days. And there's only one country. It is Romania. Now, what are the protocols? So, all passengers coming from red list country in the last 14 days will be denied entry, except repatriated Filipinos or overseas Filipino workers. Now, there is a new vaccination verification starting October 15 for all eligible passengers. First, for overseas Filipino workers and their spouse, parents, or children traveling with them vaccinated in the Philippines or abroad. Second, for non-overseas Filipino workers vaccinated in the country or abroad. And third, for foreigners vaccinated in the Philippines. So you have two options, either your VaxCert-PH digital certificate or the Bureau of Quarantine World Health Organization issued International Certificate of Vaccination, or the National State Digital Certificate of the foreign government where they were vaccinated, which has accepted VaxCert-PH under a reciprocal agreement. Now, for foreign nationals vaccinated abroad, World Health Organization issued ICV, International Certificate of Vaccination, or the National State Digital Certificate of the foreign government which has accepted VaxCert-PH under a reciprocal arrangement unless otherwise permitted by the IATF. So the first classification of passengers, there are more options, but for foreign nationals vaccinated abroad, including former Filipinos, there's only one option for you. Also, another update is that the visa on arrival for foreign tourists has been suspended since March of 2020. So, if you are planning to come to the Philippines, please familiarize yourself with getting an entry visa from a Philippine consulate abroad covering your residence. I will discuss later on who are the eligible passengers, including the foreign nationals who are the eligible passengers to the Philippines. First, Filipinos. Filipinos have the right to travel. All Filipinos can travel to the Philippines. Second, dual citizens. Dual citizens are those who possess another citizenship and can come to the Philippines provided they must have a foreign passport or a Philippine passport, or if there's no Philippine passport, must bring the dual citizenship document. There are 3 pages to the dual citizenship documents. Another set of passengers are former Filipinos. Former Filipinos can travel to the Philippines whether traveling alone or whether traveling with their foreign spouse or foreign children. If traveling with a foreign spouse or foreign children, the foreign spouse and foreign children can also avail of the Balikbayan visa, which is valid for 1 year visa-free in the Philippines. Here are the only foreign nationals who can travel to the Philippines provided you secure a valid and existing visa at the time of your entry. First, if you are a foreign spouse and your Filipino spouse in the Philippines, you must have an entry visa from a Philippine consulate abroad. Also, if you are a foreign parent, it doesn't matter if you are traveling with a Filipino child or if the Filipino child in the Philippines, all foreign parents must secure an entry visa from a Philippine consulate abroad. Another set of foreign nationals allowed are children or foreign children with special needs of Filipinos. The foreign parent must have a visa, and also foreign parent of Filipino children with special needs regardless of age. This foreign parent must have a valid visa. Other foreign nationals are accredited foreign government and international organization officials and their dependents, foreign airline crew members, foreign seafarers with 9C visa, and also immigrant visa holders 13A, 13B, 13C, 13D, 13E, and 13G. And another type of special resident and retirees visas are also eligible to travel in the Philippines. Another new rule is that you must register at least 24 hours through the Onehealthpass, and this is for quarantine purposes. Regarding the health protocols, of course, you must wear a face mask and a face shield. You must download the Traze mobile application, and also the ECIF form must be completed before flying to the Philippines. For those of you who are flying through PAL, there is a separate ECIF for PAL passengers. Also, if you're flying through the Cebu airport, there is a separate ECIF form for Cebu passengers. Now, for all other non-PAL passengers or those who are flying through a foreign airline, you must register through the padlab.ph for COVID testing. Please remember that there are now 6 ports of entry in the Philippines: Manila, Cebu, Clark, Lawag, Subic, and Davao. Please be aware of the specific requirements for each of these port of entries. Now, there is an important reminder for those non-overseas Filipino workers or those non-Filipino passengers on Middle East flights to Manila. So if you're coming from Middle East and if you are going to Manila, your flight will arrive at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport Terminal 1. Your RT-PCR test will be administered by the DOH-accredited PAD Lab. Now, if you are traveling through PAL or Philippine Airlines and you are going to Cebu, there is a separate ECIF or Electronic Case Investigation form for Cebu passengers. Also, all arriving international flight passengers are required to register not earlier than 5 days prior to departure. A travel registration number or TRN will be generated once registration is complete. Now, if you are arriving in Lawag City, here is the requirement. In compliance with the provincial government of Ilocos Norte requirement for pre-flight COVID-19 screening, passengers are required to present a negative antigen or RT-PCR test result showing the date of specimen extraction was not made more than 48 hours prior to scheduled time of departure. The test result must be presented upon check-in and upon arrival in Lawag. For those arriving in Davao, in compliance with the Davao LGU requirement for pre-flight COVID-19 screening, passengers are required to present a negative RT-PCR test result showing the date of specimen extraction was made not more than 72 hours prior to arrival in Davao. The test results must be presented upon check-in and upon arrival in Davao. For those arriving in Subic, you must register through the ECIF Red Cross for your COVID testing. Now, if you are an overseas Filipino worker, make sure to register through the balikpinas.ph or the OWA Oasis program of the government so you can avail of the free hotel, transportation, COVID testing, and food. I will send the link in my description for all of this information. Again, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If you have any other questions or comments, please post them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I hope everyone is staying safe and have a great day.